And what's up, party people? We are back, and we have a little refinishing project for you today. These are a few end tables that I did some refinishing on a few months back. They came out. Actually did a faux finish on here. I have painted numerous doors, tables, furniture, just about everything you can think of. I've put a coat of paint or stain on over the years. I spent almost 20 years in the business, remodeling, carpentry, painting. So this is a project I did for my own house, and I'm going to show you guys the steps involved to do a faux finish, and also just basic painting, staining, surface preparation to get things ready to paint or stained, and also how to achieve the best results. So this is the process I use. Stay tuned, and hope you guys enjoy the video. So first thing I like to do is, number one, I'll take a putty knife 5-in-1 and kind of just go down the flat, smooth surfaces and scrape off anything sticking up or that's kind of gunked on to a surface. After I do that, I will take these wipes. They're like degreaser wipes. You know, same thing as like a TSP, or mixing a little bit of dish soap with some water. But so we just wiped all these down, and now we're just taking a sanding sponge. We're just kind of roughing up the surface, breaking the seal. There's probably varnish or lacquer or something on these. So we're just breaking the seal to allow our primer to stick to it. You know, the number one thing with painting, I believe, especially on a table or furniture and all that, is adhesion. The last thing I want is to, bump into the table, put my keys on it, and then the paint, gets chipped off because we didn't adhere it that well to the surface. So we're going to use a nice bonding primer, cover stain. It's one of my favorites, and we're going to ensure that, the cover stain literally sticks to anything. So I really don't even need to sand to use that stuff. I'm just sanding to kind of show you the correct way to do things. You always want to scuff it up and make sure there's no rough spots. So it's kind of another step in cleaning to use the sanding sponge. Let me give you guys a little close up here. So here's a sanding sponge. You can see it's like a sponge. So that's why I like it for applications like these. It's soft. You can kind of just go around, go up and down, break the seal. It's real quick, real easy. I believe this is like a 150 grit. It probably has like a 150 on one side, 180 on the other. Alrighty, so now we got these two bad boys sanded down, and I'm going to show you the correct way to get the dust off of things. A wet rag with water is okay, but the ultimate is to use a tack cloth. Wet rag with water is never going to get every piece of dust off of there. The dust sticks to the cloth, and it can come back off of the cloth. So you want to wipe it down with a rag. I would get the majority of the dust off with a rag or a duster brush. Take an old brush, dust it off. But in my opinion, that is not enough to achieve the best results you can. Tack cloth is what I would use to achieve the best results. I could I'm kind of pushing the edge of the cloth. There's grooves in these tables, so I'm pushing the edge of the cloth right in there to kind of grab all the dust that's trapped down in those grooves. Another way you could do that, you could wrap the piece of tack cloth around a 5-in-1 or a putty knife, and you can kind of slide the putty knife in there, or even a flathead screwdriver. Wrap it around that, and you can kind of fit that right in those grooves, and it'll clean those out. Alright, so here we're beginning our primer process. So we're using cover stain spray primer. They sell this in a gallon, so you could buy a gallon and brush it on. I could I have an airless Graco sprayer. I could fire that up, but most people don't have a sprayer sitting in their garage, so we're going to use spray cans, and it's much easier than using a brush and roller, especially for an oil-based product, which can be pretty messy if you don't know how to use paint that much. And not only is it easier to use a spray can, a sprayed finish is always superior to a brush finish. That's just a good rule of thumb. So we're just going to go up and down, keeping our fan moving. We don't hold If you notice when I'm spraying, it's always moving, right? My hand's always moving up, down, left, right. It's always in a movement. I'm never in one spot just holding it still, spraying. So now we're just kind of going around. We did our majority spray. And I'm just kind of looking for, there's all kinds of angles on this thing. So I'm just kind of going around. I'm looking for holidays. That's light spots that you can kind of see what you're spraying coming through. So I see, I'm just going around looking for little holidays. And now it looks like I'm happy with what I see. And I'm just going to lay it out on the top. I spray past my surface. You don't want to stop right on the edge and go back. You want to go a little bit past it. Another thing I'm doing here is I'm really trying to load the top on real heavy. So I'm trying to make a nice heavy coat of primer. All that's going to do, it's going to get into those grooves. It's going to make the final coat so much easier. Primer's cheaper than regular paint. So whenever you can add more primer and build up the surface of what you're painting as much as you can, it's always going to make for a much better finish, a much easier finish. The paint's just going to go on that much easier, and everything's going to be solid. All the cracks are going to be filled better. So you can see here's the other little table. There's two of these guys that are kind of a set. Cover stain. I'll go ahead and link. You can get this stuff on Amazon. I'll go ahead and throw a link in the description box. You guys can order this on Amazon. It's my favorite primer. I've been using this for close to 20 years. Priming, painting, and I've never had an issue with cover stain. If you want to make sure things are really going to stick and last long, you want to bond it with something. If I just put paint on these tables, I'm going to throw a set of keys down on these one day and the paint's just going to chip right up because it's not bonded correctly. Alright, so here I'm just going to go over with some spackle in a few spots, but I'm just going around putting any dents, not just a hole, but a dent, a crack, any kind of slight imperfection. That's another good reason to prime, is it kind of makes everything pop that you're going to see on the final coat of paint as well. So this is just some spackling right here that I'm going over. And the amount you want to spackle really just depends on how you want it to look. And here's a look at the tables up close. You can kind of see the little spackle marks. So we're going to go ahead and let those dry, and then we're going to give those a good sand down. Okay, so the spackle is all sanded down. We dusted all the dust off and went over it one more time with our tack rag. And now we're going to go ahead and give it just a nice solid coat of primer. Now if there were just a couple spackle spots that I had to sand, I'd probably just spot prime it. I went ahead and put spackle on quite a bit of spots on this thing, so I'm just going to give it a whole full coat of primer. And that's just going to make for a better job. It's going to cover all those spackle marks. I'd much rather primer touch those than actual paint. It's just going to make for a better job in the long run. So we're going to give it another coat of primer. We're going to sand it real lightly after this, and then we're going to go ahead and apply our finish stain. Alright, so now we're moving on to the painting aspect of the project. Looks like I forgot to record or something here, but these tables are obviously painted in a color that isn't primer white anymore, as you just saw a few minutes ago. So the color I used on here is khaki. I used a satin sheen, and it's a spray paint by Krylon. I think I got it at like Home Depot or Lowe's. One of those two places. Let me see if I can find it on Amazon. I could leave a link to show you guys that color. And if you like it, you could order it yourself. Alright, so we're beginning the table's painted, and we're beginning the staining process. As you can see, I'm starting right in the middle. Reason for this is I always start on the inside and work my way out. And the reason for that is you don't want to be bumping on the outside or bump your arm or hand or something on the legs of the table while you're trying to get to the inside. And you're going to smudge your finish. So, get done what you don't have to go back near as much as you can prevent. And so that's why I start in the middle and I kind of work my way out to the outer and go from there. And I usually do the top last. And we're going to continue on with our stain. Usually when you paint furniture like this or windows, doors, you want to do it in sections. Kind of helps you maintain control of the finish. And with this process, you know, I'm not familiar with a faux finish in this application per se, so I'm kind of doing it in small sections, kind of taking a look as I do it to, you know, determine what the finish is going to look like and if I'm happy with the results. So we've gone down all the insides, outsides, did all the legs, got all the spots done. And now we get the glory, which is the top. So I'm just picking a side. Just the way this table is designed, there's these two pieces of trim going opposite than all the going the opposite way than all the pieces in the middle. So I'm going to first stain that outside edge, and then I'm going to stain that board separately in a section. I'm going to be making very sure not to get any stain on the other boards, just so it doesn't interfere. I want to do each one of these pieces individually. If it was a big, smooth, flat surface, I would do this totally different because there's no section, there's no grooves. So as you see here, I'm hitting the outside edge, and then I'm going to do the piece that's attached to this edge and break it off, and then pick a next section to go down. We're just continuing on with our stain here. As you can see, I'm just doing each one of these sections individually. I'm cutting in the little groove right next to the section that I'm doing. Now, if this was a smooth surface table, I would do this much differently, but we have all these little grooves, so this is why I'm doing it in sections. Sections on a piece like this, and you get to maintain control. You don't have to worry about your paint firing off and setting up on you. And that's gonna pretty much wrap up the video. I finished this little section right here, and then I went ahead and sprayed both tables with 2 coats of spray varnish. I think I picked up a can of that Helmsman spray varnish at Home Depot or Lowe's. Sprayed 2 coats. I sprayed 1 coat. I did a light, quick little sand. You know, this isn't stain going on bare wood, so it's not. It didn't lift the grain or anything that much. I just sanded between coats just to make sure everything was nice and smooth, and let it dry, and now they're in our house, and I'll leave you guys with a nice picture of the before and after here. And also, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. This is my first voiceover video, so I hope you guys are enjoying that, and I'm going to continue to make these, work on little projects, do some furniture refinishing, and add in some tips and tricks and all those type of goodies from my years in the trades here. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.